Most of what you have been told about passive income is a carefully packaged lie designed to sell you a dream that does not exist. If you spend your days hunting for the next side hustle or a quick way to make money while you sleep, you are likely building a prison instead of a machine. I have spent 30 years analyzing how wealth is actually generated, and I can tell you that most people are simply creating a second, more stressful job for themselves. The internet is flooded with gurus promising that you can set up a dropshipping store or a blog and watch the checks roll in without any further effort. This is fundamentally false because these methods are usually built on labor-intensive processes that require your constant presence to survive. True passive income is not a task or a hobby, but a result of deliberate system architecture. If you have to log in every morning to check orders, answer emails, or troubleshoot technical issues, you do not have a system. You have a job where you are both the boss and the only employee, and that is the fastest route to professional burnout. In this analysis, I will explain why 99% of these attempts fail and how you can shift your mindset from a laborer to a systems engineer. We are going to deconstruct the psychology of scale and reveal the hidden pillars that separate the wealthy from those who are just busy. The prison of the side hustle versus the freedom of the system. The biggest mistake I see people make is confusing activity with progress. They believe that if they are working hard on a project outside of their 9-to-5 job, they are building a path to freedom. However, they fail to realize that most side hustles are linear, meaning your income is directly tied to the number of hours you put in. If you are a freelance writer or a graphic designer on the side, you are still trading your time for a paycheck. Even if you increase your hourly rate, you eventually hit a ceiling because there are only 24 hours in a day. A real system is non-linear, and it relies on the concept of decoupling your income from your time. Decoupling means that the value you create and the money you earn are no longer dependent on your physical presence or your active labor. Think about the difference between a person who sells handmade bread and a person who owns the patent for the bread-making machine. The baker is limited by how many loaves he can bake in a day, while the patent owner earns a royalty every time a machine is sold anywhere in the world. The baker has a job, but the patent owner has a scalable asset. 99% of people fail because they are too busy baking bread to ever design the machine. They are stuck in a mindset of doing rather than designing, and this is why they remain trapped in the cycle of exhaustion. To move beyond this, we must understand the three fundamental pillars of a truly scalable system. The three pillars of a scalable cash flow engine. The first pillar is the principle of zero marginal cost. In the physical world, every new product you sell has a cost associated with it, such as materials, shipping, and storage. But in the digital economy of 2025, the cost of serving a second customer or a millionth customer is effectively zero. Once a piece of software is written or a digital course is recorded, it can be replicated infinitely without any additional expense. This is the secret behind the massive wealth generated by tech companies and digital creators. They focus their energy on building the initial asset and then let the system handle the distribution. The second pillar is decoupling, which is the act of removing yourself as the bottleneck of your own business. If the system requires you to make a decision or take an action for a transaction to occur, you are the weak point in the architecture. A successful system uses automation and protocols to handle everything from lead generation to customer support. This allows the engine to run 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, regardless of whether you are awake or asleep. The third pillar is replicability and the power of the flywheel. A flywheel is a heavy wheel that takes a lot of effort to start spinning, but once it gains momentum, it begins to generate its own energy. Your passive income system should work the same way, where every new customer or piece of data makes the system stronger and more efficient. Using artificial intelligence in 2025 is no longer an option, but a necessity for building this momentum. AI can analyze market trends, optimize your sales funnels, and communicate with your audience at a scale that no human could ever match. By integrating these three pillars, you stop being a worker and you start being an architect of your own financial future. The strategic roadmap from laborer to architect. The transition from a linear income to a system-based income does not happen by accident. It requires a calculated shift in how you allocate your most precious resource, which is your time. The first step in this roadmap is a radical audit of your current activities. You must look at every hour you spend working and ask yourself if that hour is building an asset or just paying a bill. If you are spending all your time on tasks that disappear the moment you stop doing them, you are in a dangerous position. You must begin carving out time to build long-lived assets that will continue to provide value for years to come. The second step is the design phase, where you map out the flow of your intended system. You need to identify what problem you are solving, who you are solving it for, and how the solution can be delivered without your intervention. This is where most people get overwhelmed and quit because it requires deep thinking rather than just busy work. However, the time you spend in the design phase is what prevents the system from collapsing later on. The third step is the implementation of automation through modern technology. In today's landscape, you can use low-code or no-code tools to stitch together complex systems that previously required a team of engineers. You can automate your marketing, your delivery, and your accounting so that the machine operates as a single cohesive unit. Once the system is built, your role changes from a creator to a monitor. You are no longer in the engine room shoveling coal. You are on the bridge of the ship, looking at the radar and making slight course corrections. This is the only way to achieve true scale without sacrificing your health or your sanity. The ultimate test of a financial system. As we look toward the economic realities of 2025 and beyond, the gap between those who own systems and those who work for them will only widen. The traditional path of saving a small percentage of your salary and hoping for a comfortable retirement is no longer a viable strategy for most people. Inflation and market volatility are constantly eroding the value of stagnant cash. The only real security comes from owning assets that produce cash flow, regardless of the broader economic climate. I want you to take a moment and honestly answer a very difficult question. If you were to vanish tomorrow and all of your active work stopped immediately, how long would your current systems continue to support you? For most people, the answer is a few weeks, or perhaps a few months at most. If your answer is not forever, then you do not have a system. You have a very fragile job. The goal of everything we have discussed today is to move that answer toward permanence. Designing a passive income system is not about getting rich quickly or finding a shortcut to wealth. It is about respecting the laws of mathematics and physics as they apply to the economy. It is about building something that is bigger than yourself and capable of operating without you. Stop looking for the next trend and start looking for the next architecture. In the next part of this series, I will break down the 5 specific types of digital assets that are the easiest to build in the current market. We will look at the exact tools and frameworks you need to start your first system audit this week. Remember that financial freedom is not a destination you reach, it is a machine you build. I will see you in the next analysis.